Welcome, curious minds, to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging headfirst into something really significant, especially here tracking tech and policy. It's the Trump administration's newly unveiled AI action plan. For this deep dive, our main source is a really sharp piece by Lauren Feiner at The Verge. She's their senior policy reporter. This came out just yesterday, July 23rd, 2025. Our mission, really, for you, our listener, is to kind of cut through the noise. We want to unpack the core bits of this, well, pretty comprehensive 28-page document. We'll help you get a handle on its three main pillars and pinpoint some of the key policy ideas, some might even surprise you, that are meant to shape AI's future, both here in the US and globally. Think of it as your shortcut to getting up to speed on this critical subject without getting totally overwhelmed. Okay, let's unpack this then. This AI action plan, it's not just a minor update, it's a hefty 28 pages dropped just yesterday. And what really jumped out at me was the timing. It landed right before a presidential appearance scheduled at an event, co-hosted by the Hill and Valley Forum, big tech and policy meetup.
And also the All In podcast, which notably is co-hosted by David Sachs, the tech investor who's now the White House AI and crypto czar. That timing alone suggests this isn't just like another policy paper drifting out, does it?
Oh, absolutely. It signals a very deliberate, very high-profile launch. And what's fascinating here isn't just the sheer ambition, to put AI in everything, as the administration puts it. It's also the belief underneath it all that speed is basically the key factor in winning the global AI race. The source material really reflects President Trump's vision to, quote, clear the way for a rapid AI revolution. And, well, that implies a willingness to perhaps de-emphasize some traditional regulatory checks, all in favor of getting things deployed fast. It's a very proactive stance. Speed seems to be the main metric here.
And it's not just sitting on paper, right? To really get this moving, President Trump is apparently expected to sign a bunch of related executive orders this week. So yeah, things are moving quickly. Okay, so we understand the when and the context. The big question now is, what does it actually propose? The document seems pretty clear, laying out its strategy across three main pillars for U.S. AI policy in what it calls the Trump era.
That's right. Pillar 1 is all about accelerating AI innovation. And this isn't just, general encouragement. It's about strategically removing what they see as roadblocks. The goal is ensuring the U.S. moves faster than global competitors in actually developing AI.
Okay, Pillar 1, speed and innovation. What's next?
Pillar 2 focuses on building American AI infrastructure. So think about the foundations needed to support all this rapid expansion, raw computing power, the data centers, the whole shebang.
Right, the physical nuts and bolts.
Exactly. And then Pillar 3 centers on leading international diplomacy and security around AI. This is basically about positioning the U.S. right at the front of global AI governance discussions and, of course, defense applications.
Okay, so innovation, infrastructure, and international leadership. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, I think, because while, big parts of the plan echo that bipartisan talk, the usual stuff about the U.S. leading the AI race, getting the tech into the economy, other bits really reflect some very specific Trump administration priorities. What stands out to you in those more, let's say, distinctive elements?
Well, one particularly striking element is how the plan tackles objective truth and what it calls ideological bias. The source, the Verge article, reports it recommends deleting references to things like misinformation, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and climate change from federal risk management guidance for AI.
Wow, okay. Deleting those references.
Yes. And it also states a ban on the federal government contracting with developers of large language models, LLMs, unless they, quote, ensure that their systems are objective and free from top-down ideological bias.
Objective. That sounds hard to define for an AI.
It's a really thorny technical challenge, absolutely, because these models learn from enormous data sets, and bias often creeps in or is just inherent in that data. And the source points out the plan doesn't actually define objective clearly, which, could leave developers in a pretty tough spot.
Yeah, definitely unclear.
Furthermore, the plan explicitly states the U.S. must, quote, reject radical climate dogma and bureaucratic red tape to win this AI race. And just to be crystal clear for you listening, we're reporting these points exactly as they are laid out in the source material. We're not endorsing them or taking sides, just relaying the plan's content.
Understood. That's a crucial distinction. What else is distinctive?
Another major piece is the administration wanting to create a, quote, try-first culture for AI across American industry.
A try-first culture. That sounds very Silicon Valley.
It does, doesn't it? It's clearly aimed at boosting the adoption of AI tools, getting companies to just jump in and use them more. And this push comes bundled with a call for pretty significant regulatory reform. They want to remove state and federal hurdles for AI development.
How would they do that? With the states, I mean.
Well, the plan includes denying states AI-related funding if their own rules are seen to, quote, hinder the effectiveness of that funding or award. The Verge notes this effectively brings back a failed attempt at a congressional AI law moratorium. It's quite a strong measure.
Wow. Yeah. Using funding as leverage.
Exactly. And to support all this expansion, the plan also suggests cutting rules that slow down building essential infrastructure like data centers and semiconductor manufacturing plants.
Which are critical, as you said.
Absolutely. These are the physical foundations, and it calls for expanding the power grid too, explicitly recognizing the huge energy needs of these, quote, energy-intensive industries of the future.
Oh, try first. Less regulation, more infrastructure build-out. Anything else on the domestic side?
Yes. Finally, it touches on government adoption and the workforce. The plan encourages the government itself to adopt AI tools, and it specifically says it should do so aggressively within the armed forces. That's a pretty significant directive.
Aggressively in the military. Okay.
And naturally, as AI changes the job market, the plan talks about needing to, quote, rapidly retrain and help workers thrive in an AI-driven economy. It acknowledges that impact on jobs.
That's a lot of domestic policy changes. But what about the international angle if we shift focus there? How does the plan position the U.S. globally? Especially when you consider recent news like lifting some restrictions on NVIDIA selling certain advanced AI chips to companies in China.
Yeah, that raises a really important question, doesn't it? Because despite that specific NVIDIA action, the AI action plan itself still talks about having some restrictions on selling U.S. tech to foreign adversaries. It specifically recommends the government should, quote, address gaps in semiconductor manufacturing export controls.
So it's not completely open doors then.
Exactly. The source describes it as a nuanced approach, trying to balance, open trade and fostering industry with core national security concerns, making sure cutting-edge U.S. AI tech doesn't end up in the wrong hands while still allowing the industry to thrive. It's a tricky balance.
Makes sense. What other international or security aspects does it cover?
Well, it also gets into other critical areas, like fostering science and research collaboration around AI development globally. Recognizing progress often happens together. There's investment in biosecurity in the context of AI, so using AI for good, like finding new cures faster, identifying pathogens, but also needing safeguards against potential misuse, like, the scary prospect of AI-designed bioweapons.
Okay, the dual-use problem.
Precisely. And it also mentions creating the necessary legal framework to fight deepfakes, which is crucial as AI-generated fake video and audio get scarily realistic, posing real threats to, well, everything from national security to just public trust.
Okay, so connecting all these pieces.
Yeah.
When we zoom out, what does this all really mean? What's the big picture goal here? The significance of this plan for the U.S.?
Fundamentally, the administration is stating its belief that getting this plan implemented and, quote, winning the AI race is absolutely essential for the country's security, its competitiveness, and its economic future. The introduction to the plan itself really captures this feeling of a high-stakes moment. It's penned by David Sachs, Michael Kratsios, the president's science advisor, and Secretary of State Marco Rubio. And they write, "The opportunity that stands before us is both inspiring and humbling, and it is ours to seize or to lose."
Wow, seize or lose. That's pretty stark language.
It really is. It frames this as a pivotal moment, suggesting the choices made right now will basically determine America's global standing for decades.
What a deep dive indeed. Okay, so just to sum up the key takeaways for you, our listener.
Right.
This Trump administration AI action plan is definitely multifaceted. There's a huge emphasis on rapid innovation, building out that robust infrastructure, some significant regulatory changes or streamlining. And it definitely comes with a unique ideological frame. It really is a comprehensive blueprint they're laying out for AI's future in the U.S.
And we really encourage you listening to just consider the sheer scale of ambition here. Think about the ripple effects across so many sectors, American industry, the military, those advances in biosecurity we mentioned, and just the fundamental future of work itself. It really aims to touch and potentially reshape almost every part of society with how we develop and use this incredibly powerful technology.
Absolutely. So as you go about your day, here's maybe a final provocative thought to chew on. How might that specific emphasis on objective truth however defined, and that push for a try-first culture in AI development. How might those elements, as laid out in this plan, ultimately shape the ethical and practical landscape of AI here in the U.S., especially when you compare it to what other countries are doing, or even how things were approached before? It's a big question, isn't it? And I guess the answers will really unfold in the months and years ahead.